Thoughts Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go! Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The quirky girl who's going to encourage you to be the best self you can be. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that's Simone LaRue. Would you consider that a manic pixie dream girl? Is that a trope?
No, I
Or are
don't
they
think
different?
she's. No, we're different. We're different.
Okay.
We're not like the other manic pixie dream girls.
So it's not a subclass of the manic pixie dream girl. It's a whole another division that just sort of inspires you to be the best that you can be.
Yeah, I call it
nice.
the supportive girlfriend trope.
That's a much healthier trope, I must say that.
I think so. Yeah,
Definitely.
We don't see
So-
it enough.
Would you classify yourself as the supportive girlfriend trope and not the manic pixie dream girl?
I'd like to, but like truly, I think that's up to Rudy. And you would probably. Oh man, my sinuses have been like so blocked lately. So this
Mhm.
poor man had to sleep on the couch last night because he like could
Oh,
not sleep over
no.
like how I guess I was snoring and like breathing really loud. Apparently it sounded like I was
bless.
dying. Yeah, and I was like, I felt so bad. I was like, I'll try to see a doctor during the week. If you want, like, I'll sleep on the couch tonight. Like, it's really not your fault. And he
Oh,
was like,
no.
Simone, you know I would never let you sleep on the couch. It's like,
Oh, he
I don't
is
deserve.
so wonderful. I love that
Yeah.
man so very much. That's so
Yeah.
great. Maybe he would cast you as the "thank goodness you're pretty" trope. That would be your vibe.
She's very lucky that she's pretty. Yeah, that's probably right.
Oh, wonderful. Well, talking about thank God she's pretty, what are we doing this week?
Ah, nice.
Hey.
Look
Oh,
at him
God.
coming in early with the segues. This week we are doing the icon of our childhood, Amanda
Mhm.
Bynes.
Oh my gosh, so happy about it. I mean, it's taken us this long to get there.
It's embarrassing, frankly.
I know, right? Like, did you ever watch the Amanda Bynes show?
Yes, I think that was like my first
Mhm.
introduction to Amanda Bynes. She was so like that show was so funny.
Oh,
She's so
brilliant.
funny. Just like
Yeah.
how are you like a child and you're like that funny?
It was brilliant. And like, I'd look back at the format and I'm like, no wonder that we are into like late night talk show hosts and stuff, because she would come out, do like a bit of like stand-up comedy, which is insane for a child to do
As a
in the first
child,
place.
yeah.
And then like for us to be like entertained by that, that's like a weird opening to a show for a kid to do and then do skits afterward. It's essentially SNL, but herself. Like that is it every week. That's nuts. Like
That was
good on
crazy.
her. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So
And
what
then she,
movies
and then
are- yeah,
I
sorry.
feel like we almost grew up with her a little bit too,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like when we were kids, she did a bunch of Nickelodeon stuff, and then like
Mhm.
as we got older, that's when she started doing these movies that we're reviewing today, like these
Mm-hmm.
teen, high schooly, collegey movies. And we just sort of grew up with that, and it was cool to see someone who's
Yeah.
like quirky and funny and weird, being the romantic lead and stuff like that.
No, you're so right. And I think as well, the fact that like she doesn't fit that typical Disney kid mold of being
Yeah,
blonde and
totally.
blue-eyed and like, you know, she was just like the tomboy version of
Yeah.
everything that Disney wanted from girls. And I think it was like
She
such a
was a Nickelodeon
analog.
kid. She wasn't a
Oh,
Disney Channel kid.
I thought she was a Disney kid, a Nickelodeon kid. Maybe
Mm-mm.
that's why she's a bit more radical than our Disney counterparts, because, you know, Nickelodeon was always that channel that was just slightly sticky. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's just a sticky
and I mean,
channel.
there was that whole thing that came out with like that one producer on Nickelodeon
Oh
being
no,
a little
don't tell me what
sus.
happened. Oh god.
There are some allegations that
Oh, no.
with him and children. Like honestly, being a child actor is so fraught. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's horrible. Like
It must be
they're-
terrifying.
predators insert themselves into that industry. Like yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
my
it's
God.
awful. And I wish everybody who's had to go through that nothing but light and healing and happiness. Like,
Yeah.
my God.
That's awful. Show business is a bit of a fuck up. Like, let's be honest, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's terrifying.
I wonder if
that
anyone
we've-
else has made a movie about that.
I wonder. It's really
I
weird,
wonder,
right?
has anyone taken that angle before?
You know, it's a bit strange. I mean, what a bombshell to lay down.
Oh, he's on it today.
I'm firing on all synapses. It's
Oh
this
my
exam
God.
studying. It's just making me fire it.
God, how would I keep up? Why didn't you tell me? I would have just done a quick line of coke before I jumped on, just so we could match up.
Yeah, well, my paralegal coke is arriving pretty soon, so that's good.
Yeah.
So this week, like Simone said, we're doing Amanda Bynes week. So we have chosen to do She's the Man, like stupendous film.
Oh, iconic.
And then Sydney White, which I realized halfway through that I had in fact seen already, and I really appreciated getting the rewatch. I think both of these movies are just brilliant, just chef's kiss, right?
Yeah, totally, like, delightful.
It's made this week really wonderful. Like I have enjoyed when we have weeks like this where it's just like a little bit of a break from the crap that we usually do. It's always super fun. So Simone,
and I mean, they're silly. Like this is like our bread and butter kind of movie because they got like super low critic scores but really high audience scores.
Yes.
So everyone's like, it's not great, but I not also wildly entertained the whole way through? Yeah.
Exactly. You're so right. And I think that is what our bread and butter of this podcast is, like you say. Like it's for the fans. It's not for the critics. I mean, we've never proposed ourselves as critics and professional critics, but we do our best.
Truly, anytime I see something that has a high critic score but a low audience score, I'm like, oh.
It's going to be exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah. I downloaded such a movie today to watch, and I'm nervous.
Oh, yeah? What's that movie?
Netflix's Shudder's Lucky. I've heard really, really good things about it.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I hope it
check it out.
You know, doesn't make you feel like a dumb bitch because we hate those kind of films.
I mean, Possessor really did a number on me already.
Oh, what a time to be alive,
I can only
right?
feel so dumb.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay, Simone. Well, let's decide who gets to go first. What are you drinking?
Yeah. So I am drinking a dessert wine.
Interesting.
Today. It's Jarapigo.
Right.
Yeah, it's syrupy, it's sweet. It's like cold and rainy outside, so like you kind of just want something a little bit less classy. That's what Jarapigo is. And it comes in at a cool 18% because of the nice high sugar content.
Dang.
And it is fine.
Jarapigo, something that's a little bit dirty. Lovely. Can you heat it up, or like is it just
no?
Like a cold
I
wine?
wouldn't.
Okay.
I guess you could maybe add it to Glühwein if you wanted to, but it certainly shouldn't be the main ingredient.
Fair.
I always add sherry to my Glühwein, so it is. It knocks you on your ass.
You're a dangerous person to be around. You really are. Like that and your Christmas cake, like you are a liability. I
make really good punches too, like for parties and stuff. I make a really good punch. And here's the secret. Everyone, I'm sharing it with the world. What you want some kind of hard alcohol. Vodka or gin is usually good. You can go with like a rum if you really want to, but it's really overpowering. Okay. You want some kind of juice, pomegranate juice, orange juice.
Yeah. Pomegranate's good.
You know, a fruit cocktail if you want to. It depends on your
if you're a fucking psychopath, fruit cocktail.
Want some kind of wine. White wine, rosé, red wine, depending on the flavors you're already working with.
Okay.
And then you want soda water.
Okay. Interesting.
And then you mix those until you find the ratio you want. You float something in it. If it's a Christmas thing, maybe like cranberries or sliced orange or cinnamon sticks. If it's a summer thing, like pineapple or mango. If it's like, anyway, that's how you do it. That's a punch.
Damn. I think we should have put that behind a paywall. I don't know why we're giving this brilliant advice for free.
If people end up actually making a punch with this, please send us pictures. Like, please tweet at us or something. Like,
oh my gosh.
That would honestly, I could die knowing that was like the thing I put out into the world.
I also just want to like put out a disclaimer here that every time that either Simone or I have made have a party plus punch, it never goes well. Like I just want to put that out as a disclaimer. The parties are fair. I think the best way to describe it is radical, but not in like the 90s cool skateboarding way. More in the terms of like storming the Capitol kind of radical bad decisions were made.
Okay, not like right radical, you know.
No. Bad decisions that were really, really dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be really clear that like
a disclaimer on the disclaimer.
Yeah, look, I said that the punch is really good. I didn't say it's good for you.
No, that is a good point. And as long as people are aware of that, they're going into that with the mindset, then we're fine. We've done our job. We're free. Yeah.
And we take no responsibility.
We take no responsibility whatsoever. Don't come at us.
Anyway, what are you drinking?
Well, you mentioned there one of the things that I am drinking. I am drinking rum and Sprite today, which is very, very nice. Every time I drink rum, I remember that I don't really like rum that much. And then I forget about that,
That's
and then
how
I try it again.
too.
Yeah. You think like, oh, rum, it's going to be fine. And then it's just not.
I don't enjoy pina coladas.
What? Really?
It's too much. It's like the super sweet pineapple, which I like on its own. It's this really like fatty coconut, which I like on its own, but not. And then like the rum is so, I don't know, it's too much.
This is too much. Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. So like, I know that your like go-to cocktail is an old fashioned, but like in terms of like tropical,
I like a margarita. I like a mojito.
Okay. Yeah. All right, good. Yeah. I think margarita is pretty exotic given like is it
I
frozen or straight?
I like a frozen one because I'm a basic bitch. And you can get, it's called an iceberg. So it's a beer with like a scoop of frozen margarita on top.
Ooh, interesting.
So good.
That sounds incredible. Oh my God, I want that in my life. Yeah, no, we are basic bitches, but that's why we work. I mean, that's why when we do our Barb and Star, that's why when we do our Barb and Star go to Costa Vista del Mar holiday when we're 40, all we're going to be drinking is frozen mugs the whole time.
Oh my God, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to go to Vista del Mar and be horrified by Florida.
Oh yes, it's going to be the best. I'm so excited to see all the Florida men. It's going to be brilliant.
You know, and if you drink enough frozen margs, you might become Florida man.
I'm so excited. I'm so ready for it. Just another 13 years. Jesus Christ, 13 years.
Oh, fuck off.
I thought it was 23. It's not. It's 13, my friends.
It turns out 40 is not that old, and you only realize it as you start pushing 30.
How scary is that as well? Like, I know a lot of our listeners are older than us, but like hitting 30 is really coming in close. And I'm like, I'm not a 30-year-old. That's insane. Look at me. I'm not 30. That's fucking ridiculous. What? No.
So
youth is fleeting, and I think I get to go first, right?
Youth is fleeting. If you're our age or older, it's time to get your hands on some good serums, use some sunblock, and a nice under eye cream.
Oh, heartbreaking times. All right, should I tell you about Sydney White?
Please.
Okay, so this synopsis is a bit wayward. There's tons of detail in the beginning, and then I explain the characters, and then it ends because the ending doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, there's like a lot of back and forth that actually doesn't affect much.
No. Okay, so here we go. Sydney White, played by Amanda Bynes, is not like other girls. You see, when her mum tragically died when she was just a young girl, she was raised solely by her father, a plumber and a real man's man. As a result, Sydney loves tools, comic books, and football, and isn't into all that girly stuff. But being raised by her father has its drawbacks too. Sydney is desperately trying to find a way to have some connection with her mother, and this summer she is off to college, the same college, in fact, that her mother went to. Sydney's mother was part of a sorority called the Kappa Phi News, and so, in order to connect with her mother, Sydney wants to hopefully rush and become a sister, so at least she has one experience that her mother had. On arriving at university, Sydney meets the only other legacy rush in the Kappa Phi's this year, Dinky, played by Crystal Hunt. She's this lovely Southern belle with massive hair and a bubbly personality. Because Sydney is totally out of her depth, Dinky helps her get ready and look presentable for the first rush party. On the way there, Sydney meets Tyler Prince, played by Matt Long, who is the president of the Kappa Phi's brother fraternity. He's a total hunk, and clearly there is some chemistry between them. At the rush party, Sydney runs into the president of the Kappa Phi's, Rachel Witchburn, played by Sarah Paxton. Rachel is your typical sorority queen, super stuck up, super hot, and super mean. She immediately takes a disliking to Sydney because Sydney isn't like the other girls, and also Rachel used to date Tyler and desperately wants him back, but he's not interested because he doesn't really want one of those girly girls. So Rachel and Sydney start off on the wrong foot, and things only get worse from there. During the whole hazing ritual, Rachel tries to make Sydney's life hell, but she is still able to pass every challenge. One of the challenges worth noting is the date dash and ditch, where the pledgees had to find a date in 15 minutes at midnight and bring them to the dinner. Sydney found a super dorky guy named Lenny, who has like a lot of allergies and things, which makes him really sneezy. And he's played by Jack Carpenter. I do this for all of them, so just be ready.
I'm thrilled.
So
I would expect nothing less.
So Lenny doesn't belong to any fraternity, but still lives on Greek Row in a house called The Vortex. This is a house for all the nerds and undesirables. The house itself is severely neglected and dilapidated, and this will come into play later. So it's the night of the pitting, and Sydney, though she still doesn't feel like she fits with the Kappa lifestyle, is still really excited to follow in her mother's footsteps. That's when Rachel publicly humiliates her by saying that she cheated during the pledging and so is a disgrace to the Kappa name and will never become a sister. Sydney, distraught, runs away to the Vortex because she has nowhere else to go. The Vortex accepts her fully. It's this ragtag group of 7 nerds who are actually really delightful. You have Lenny, who we've met before. Then you have Terrence, played by Jeremy Howard, who is super clever but introverted, almost like a doctor. Then you have Jeremy, played by Adam Hendershot, who is really bashful. Gherkin, played by Danny Strong, who is grumpy. Mbele, played by Dante Bonner, who is from Ghana and hasn't adjusted to the time change, so is always sleepy. Spanky, played by Sam Levine, who is super sex crazed student, which makes him, I think, dopey, right? I'm not sure.
I thought that the Cub Scout guy was dopey.
Okay, so this was my interpretation of dopey. So that guy is George, and he's played by Arnie Pantoja, who I just thought was always delightful, and so I always thought he was happy. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
True. You know what? It's been a while since I brushed up on my Snow White mythos.
To be fair, I had to Google it to make sure I was getting like all the right characters and all the right things.
Fair enough.
So together, they all come up with a plan to take Rachel down for being so mean to everyone. See, Rachel is also the president of the student council and has somehow redirected funds every year so that 80% of the school's budget is spent on Greek Row. She now plans to demolish the Vortex to make room for some other perk for the Greek sororities and fraternities. Sydney and the other Vortex tenants decide to run for student council to bring down this tyranny. Lots of hijinks ensue, including betrayal, public humiliation, and Sydney falling in love with Tyler. In the end, all works out well. Sydney becomes the new president of the student council because she went around and visited all the other clubs and societies on campus, including the Jewish Society, the marching band, and the poetry / LGBTQ plus spoken word place. And she secured the vote with them, and she finally became closer to her mother because she learned that her mother's best characteristic wasn't that she was a sister of the Kappa Phi's, but that she was true to herself and the values she stood for. The end.
The end. Chad, what is your cliffhanger?
So I think this encapsulates both movies, and so it has to be this one, which is the opening scene where she meets Dinky for the first time, and she's just like, I don't have any clothes, I like comic books, and I'm not like the other girls, because that's what Amanda Bynes' whole vibe is. That's her aesthetic, right?
You know, what I like about her, though, is like, you know, she's very much like herself, and she doesn't like do all this girly stuff, but she's never like derisive about it, you know? She's not like, oh, I don't care about my hair and stuff. Like, other girls are so fake. Like, she's really nice to Dinky from the moment they meet. Like, she appreciates her as a person. She's just like very aware that like the stuff isn't for her. And I think that's like the big difference with how Amanda Bynes tends to be written is like it's never like rejecting other girls or anything. It's just like fully accepting that like she is who she is.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think in this movie, especially, like, you know, there's that whole opening monologue where she talks about how she wished she had sort of a female role model. And I think that is really nice about this movie. Yeah, you see her natural character coming through of being one of the guys. But you know, she still wants that sort of female sort
Yeah,
of
it's still
touch to
something that she's like
things.
really craving in her life.
Yeah, which I think was like really kind of nuanced and kind of nice, and
Yeah.
I think it is very Amanda Bynes.
And she's not like totally ungirly. Like when she lives with the
Mm.
guys later, like she does her own makeup pretty well.
Hmm.
We see her like shaving her legs and like, you know, she's just like she just hasn't had a lot of girl experiences, but she's not like
Yeah.
completely unfeminine, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's true, and it is just great to see those moments where she is acting all girly, and the boys, it's this. What I liked is they didn't rely on her changing to be a girly girl in order to
Yeah.
fit in. It was more, the trope of the boys not knowing how to react to a girl, and yet she
Yeah.
kind of makes them very comfortable with being a girl,
Yeah.
which I thought was really nice. And then there's that bit where Rachel is like checking her skin and stuff, and it's just like flawless, and I thought that was really nice because it goes to show that she is still a girl, and these things
Yeah.
do, I guess, matter to her, just not as much as everyone else takes them to be.
Yeah, definitely. Like she definitely like I don't know, maybe it's a credit to the costume designer, whatever. Like she clearly takes pride in her
Mhm.
appearance. She just doesn't wear a lot of dresses. Like she doesn't
Yeah.
own heels. Like these are things that she's never had to own before. And
Right.
she's like cool with wearing one. She's not like, "Ugh, I can't believe I have to wear this dress."
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And I don't know, I liked that. I think
Yeah.
as much as I think this movie is like framed as like, oh, she's not like other girls.
Mhm.
Amanda Bynes' performance and like the way she's scripted is very much like not like that.
Exactly. It's goes back to what you said. It's not derisive. Like she never makes fun of the other girls. She just
Yeah.
doesn't understand it. And there is a nice difference there. It's not this like looking down on it. It is purely like, I just don't get it. I really don't understand. I want to, I just don't. I think the
Yeah.
only sort of condescending comment she makes was to Rachel during the spray gun quiz, where she's like, "Oh, sorry, I haven't learned to speak Priss yet," and that's just more directed at
That's
Rachel for
fair.
being a bitch than
Yeah.
at the girly lifestyle. Yeah, what did we think of Rachel as a villain? I loved her.
I mean, like, obviously they had to play her up because she was like the evil sorceress, right? So like she had to be
Yes.
played up as like super evil. I thought the actress did a really great job. I think she's
Mhm.
so pretty, and I always think of her as the good guy because she was an aquamarine.
Yes, yeah.
Um, so I'm just like, oh, I don't like it when she's mean. She's got such
Mhm.
giant eyes. I just want her to be nice, and she's so pretty.
Yeah.
But she did such a great job. I think she did like the overplaying it super well. Like it was exactly
Mhm.
what the script called for.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, as far as a
She
villain goes, like you would
Yeah.
be hard pressed to do better.
Exactly. And she's actually such a great actress. I mean, she's done a lot of character work, but she was recently, I think she was involved in the newest Last House on the Left, the
Oh,
movie, and she did an incredible job in that sort of serious role. And
okay,
it's
good for
really worth
her.
checking out because she does such a great role. But yeah, it's just that is something I think we should mention because obviously we haven't explicitly said it yet, but basically this movie takes on Snow White and changes it into sort of a modern fairy tale. So that's why you have the seven dwarves. You have her called Sydney White. You have the main protagonist called Tyler Prince, and then she's Witchburn. So I thought that was actually really tastefully done. I mean, some bits were obvious, but I thought, the dwarves were really tasteful. The fact that like
Yeah.
Mbele is a guy from Ghana who doesn't, hasn't adjusted to the time, and that's why he's sleepy. That's adorable.
Yeah, even though he's been there for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, no, and I don't know. I really liked like Sydney comes into this house and she doesn't like try to change them, right? Like she doesn't do makeovers. She doesn't do anything like that. Like she just shows up and she's like, "Oh, you don't know how to tie knots. Like let's work on that." Like oh, like this is something you're struggling with. Let me help you. Let's all go to the gym together so you guys can meet people. Let's run for student council so that you guys can like stand up for yourselves. And she always like she doesn't do things for them. She just encourages them. She's like, "Why don't you socialize with these people? Like, why don't you go ahead and do this? It's okay. I'm right here." Like, I really liked that it was more like she's just like encouraging them to be their best selves rather than like trying to change anything fundamental about them. Like, she already believes that they're worthy of like love and friendship and respect. And she's just like helping them understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's so true. And there's no tropes of, oh, look at me with my 7 guys and, having to
Yeah.
clean up
Oh.
after them and all that shit. And like, you get really sweet moments between them. There's that bit where Lenny, like, she's just arrived at Vortex and Lenny is like trying to help her out and gives her that night light and things. And is like, do you need any lady
Oh, I
products?
love Lenny.
I mean, he's so outside of his depth and everything, but he's just like, do you need any lady
He's
products?
such
Is
an
there anything you
angel.
specifically need? And it's just like, you know what? We would be hard pressed for good men like you, and we all need men like that in our
Ugh,
lives.
what a king. Can
What a
I
king.
say, maybe controversial, I
Uh-huh.
thought that there was more chemistry between her and Lenny than there was
Yes.
between her and the prince. Like, I low-key
Yes.
wanted her to end up with Lenny. I know, like, they couldn't do that because they were doing, like, the Snow White
Uh-huh.
narrative thing, but, like, she and Lenny were so cute. Every single scene they
Yes.
did together, they were adorable. She likes, like, he likes the same comic books as her,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, they like, have the shared interests, and all she really shares with the prince guy is, like, some chemistry.
And
And he's
football.
like, "Oh no, I'm a nice guy." And he brings her on a date to the soup kitchen where he volunteers, but it's not really volunteering, it's actually community service. So he brought her
Yeah.
along on his community service.
No, but it's finished now, and we just can't get rid of him because he's such a good guy.
And he was like, "Oh, I knew you'd appreciate this place." And it's like, okay.
Look, it
I
is
mean,
a
like, I guess.
yeah, it's an adorable date idea, but make
Sure.
sure that your professor isn't there to dog you out and be like, ah, no, this started because he did some fucked up shit. Rather just like wait till that guy's gone so you can look like the hero. Like, come on,
Also,
guy.
the professor, like, he implies that he got that community service because of, like, I don't know, a hazing thing gone wrong with, like, the
Uh-huh.
football team or something.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, wait, so you bullied someone so hard that the school administration took notice. And, like, let's be honest, it takes administrations a
Oh,
while before they give a shit. Like, somebody has to end
yeah.
up in hospital or press
Especially if you're
charges.
white and on a football team
Yeah.
and the president of the
So,
thing.
like,
Yeah.
you guys fucked up badly. Like, you hurt somebody.
Dude's probably dead. Like, let's be fair. Dude
Like,
is probably dead.
yeah, it's one of those horrible, like, alcohol poisoning,
Mhm.
hazing deaths.
Yeah.
And like, they just kind of gloss over that a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, so I'm doing this community service for that time that I scarred someone for life,
Yeah.
probably."
There's a
I don't know.
family out west who is
It
just
sat a little
crying
weirdly
tears.
with me.
Yeah, I get that. Like, I think that is probably the only thing that's wrong with this movie is there's like little details like that just make no sense. Like, for example, as well, for me, the big sticking point was when Duck essentially sold his probability machine for $10 million. Are you crazy? That is like the cheapest price he could have
Yeah.
gotten. A probability machine that can work out the
Accurately
probability.
predict. And he
of
sold
anything.
it to bet.com. My guy.
My guy, 10 mil, and all you got was 10 mil. Mistakes were made. Unacceptable.
Yeah, I thought that too. I was like, "Oh my god, you got cheated." I hope you got some royalties from that contract because my god.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But yeah, apart from like those little details of just like, this doesn't feel right. The film itself is actually bloody cute. Like I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sweet. It's like super heartfelt, and the message coming from conventionally attractive straight white cis Amanda Bynes being like, "Oh, we're all weird," and like that's kind of cool. Like we can all embrace being weird. It's like you're just not super girly. Like you're not actually that weird.
I love it. I absolutely love when traditional and conventionally beautiful people say, "I'm such a nerd for like liking one
I'm
weird
so
thing."
weird, you guys.
Yeah, it's like I like Harry Potter. I'm such a nerd. I'm such a geek. It's like shut the
And like I don't want to gatekeep. Like if you feel like
Yeah.
a nerd, that's cool. It's just a weird message coming from a movie where they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay if you're a nerd." It's like, "Yeah, but you're also beautiful."
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes sense. Like I really like what Dinky says because she's just like I think I'm in love with a nerd and therefore I'm a nerd by
Yeah.
proxy essentially. And that's like yeah, I can probably get that behind that. But but when Amanda Bynes is just like oh my dad's a plumber, it's like not really
Plumbers
a
make
dork.
really good money as well. Like
Yeah. I can understand from like Moose who was like oh I was the under 15s world champion in ice skating. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. You're a
beautiful.
dog.
Oh my god,
Beautiful.
Moose.
Oh man, is there anything else that you particularly didn't like about it? Because I mean, we're just gonna sing the praises of this.
Um, no, I mean, I think my major complaint was like the distinct lack of chemistry between Amanda Bynes and the Prince character and who she should have ended up with. But like otherwise, like perfectly fun way to pass an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those movies that sort of like you forget about it and then you watch it again and you're like, ah, yeah, I remember how great this film was. And
Yeah.
you just enjoy it again. And it's just, yeah, I think it'll go down in history as you know, sort of Amanda Bynes will never be sort of this massive, huge person, except with the people in our generation.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we'll just keep her alive because, you know, she's an icon for us and you can't not love her. Yeah. So is there a scene that could have saved this then, apart from, I mean, what you've already said?
I thought the like magic mirror bit was a little contrived. I would have just taken that out. Basically, like for our listeners, the magic mirror is like this college like who's hottest on campus, which I mean is just a popularity contest. Let's be honest. Like there's probably some like really hot person who just doesn't participate in Greek life out there. But yeah, so like the queen character every day checks this list to see if she's still like the fairest of them all, and then one day she checks the list and Sydney's the fairest of them all and she like loses her shit. That was uncalled for, I thought. Like I think they gave that character enough reasons to be jealous of Sydney that like this extra one was super unnecessary.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And yeah, it perpetuates. I guess back then it's sort of like you didn't realize how negative the internet could be and how like radically awful the internet can become. So hot and not things were still fine.
Yeah, and they're also disgusting.
They're really disgusting. I think it's really funny thinking back about it now, in the fact that Hot or Not was sort of like the basis of why Facebook became a thing. And now we have Facebook.
And now we have Facebook, the famously unproblematic social media app.
So, you know, what begets what is pure evil. And now we have to live in that world, which is terrifying. So it's good to see the progression of time. I guess. I think our university, I'm not sort of saying it's the best thing to do, but our university, I think, had the right idea with not a Hot or Not page, but a UCT confessions page.
Oh, that was super fun.
Which was super, super fun because it wasn't sort of like you're ranking people, but it was just like, if you found someone very attractive, you could anonymously tell them you thought they were attractive and then go and find them. Which I thought is just a delightful thing. Yeah. So would you watch this again?
Sure, if it's on. Like I probably won't seek it out again for a while because it's formulaic and I don't think it's like the best Amanda Bynes movie, but it's fun.
Okay, yeah, no, I kind of agree with you there. Like I think it's just nice, like on a Sunday you're feeling really sleepy, it's getting late, you're ready for bedsies, but like this is just come on. You remember it's such a chill film. You have it over dinner and a couple drinks. Perfect. What a way to spend the evening. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Simone. Let's talk about She's the Man.
Let's talk about She's the Man. Okay.
I'm so ready for this.
Okay. Viola, played by Amanda Bynes, is starting a fresh new school year, ready to kick ass in soccer, which she has improved at significantly over the holidays, and is something that she really, really enjoys, especially because she used to do a lot of soccer with her boyfriend, Paul, I want to say. Or is it Justin? No, Justin.
I think of the two names, Justin sounds like a douchier name.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. With her boyfriend, Justin. When she gets to school, however, she finds that the female soccer team has been cut because not enough people signed up. So she asks if she could join or if she and her friends could try out for the male soccer team. The coach laughs. He's like, no, girls aren't that good. She asks for her boyfriend, Justin, to back her up. Justin, played by Robert Hoffman. But he's like, nah, babe, he's right. Girls just aren't that good at soccer. So she immediately breaks up with him. At the same time, her brother, Sebastian, played by... James Kirk is like, hey, I've told both of our parents who are separated that I'm staying in the other's house, and I'm actually going to go to England for 2 weeks. Can you cover for me at this new school? And at first, Viola's like, I don't know what to do about that. But then she sees that the school has a really good soccer team that is going to play her school's soccer team in about 2 weeks. So, together with her friends, Paul, played by Jonathan Sabowski, Kia, played by Amanda Crew, and Yvonne, played by Jessica Lucas. Together with her friends, they hatch a plan for her to pose as her brother at this new school, get on the soccer team, kick the other school's butt while she's on the soccer team, and prove a point. So, after some training, after some wig and makeup application, Viola passes as her brother Sebastian. When she gets to school, she meets her roommate Duke, played by Channing Tatum, who is very handsome and also a very good soccer player. The two kind of don't really hit it off right away, and she's not like the best soccer player straight off the bat. But after some manipulation with her friends, where basically they make it look like Viola as Sebastian is a super big lady killer, suddenly Duke wants to be her friend some more. So Duke proposes that he'll help Viola as Sebastian tighten up her soccer game so that she can get onto the first team. If Viola as Sebastian helps him get the cutest girl in school, Olivia Lennox, played by Laura Ramsey, on a date. And Viola as Sebastian is like, cool. Lots of hijinks ensue. Viola does get better at soccer, so she gets promoted to the first team. There's a whole scene where she has to go back and forth between different costume changes. While she's dressed as herself, Viola, she's working at a kissing booth, and she kisses Duke. Sparks fly. Later, Olivia, who now has a crush on Viola as Sebastian, is like, oh, what can I do to make him jealous? Because obviously Viola's showing exactly no interest in her at all. So she does the natural thing. She decides to go on a date with Duke to make Sebastian jealous. That doesn't really work. Duke's very confused. He's just lost puppy. And unfortunately for Viola, and without her knowledge, Sebastian comes back. Olivia, wanting to throw caution to the wind, kisses Sebastian, actual Sebastian, who she thinks is Viola as Sebastian, and runs off. Duke sees the whole thing. He's furious at Viola as Sebastian, and she doesn't know why. And it all comes to a head at the final soccer game the next day, where basically there's a lot of back and forth. Viola's identity is revealed. The coach, Dinklage, played by Vinnie Jones, lets her play anyway. They win. She and Channing Tatum end up together. Olivia and actual Sebastian end up together, and everybody lives more or less happily ever after.
Good on you. The end. Good on you. So what's your cliffhanger for this bad boy?
So it's really short, and it just has to be this one because it made me laugh so much, which is towards the end where Coach Dinklage, played by Vinnie Jones, goes like, because at this school, we don't discriminate against people based on their gender.
It's a cute scene.
I don't know. Having Vinnie Jones yell that in somebody's face just like brought me so much joy.
There are very few comedic things that are just so pure in this life. And seeing a hard man who you expect to be bigoted give a really inclusive and woke view of something is one of those comedic moments that just, it's never not funny. It's never not funny.
And Vinnie Jones is always funny too. Like
he's so good.
He knows who he is. He knows the character he's expected to play, and he always nails it. He does crazy eyes. He keeps his accent no matter what. And like,
he's so good. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I don't think as well there is a bad actor in this movie. Everyone plays such a spectacular role. The principal as well. Like, I love that actor. He is one of the funniest people on the planet.
He's so
and
funny.
He's so good in this. He is so good in this. And yeah, I love all of it. She's the man. I was really scared when we started doing this because I was really worried, being a gender swap movie, we were going to get like a lot of transphobia. But surprisingly, walking out of it, nothing, right?
There's even the scene where like this like geeky kid comes to the principal with his suspicions. And the principal's like, no, Sebastian's definitely a guy. Like, you can't just like question people about this stuff. And then like Sebastian walks past being like, no, Mom, I don't want you to pick out my dress. No, Mom, I don't want to wear heels. And he's like, You know, have you ever tried to run in
Yeah.
heels? It's hard. And I just love it. Like,
It's
no
brilliant.
judgment.
It's so cool. It's so cool to watch that. And like, yeah, it was just really surprising. I think the only real problematic thing was the boys, because they were just like, oh, she's emotionally vulnerable because she broke up with a boyfriend. Now time to pounce. Let's get on that. Yeah. Boys.
Gross.
Teen boys. But then again, teen boys are disgusting. Just a fact.
Yeah, I also do love that, like, the three grown-ass men that play, like, Duke and then his two buddies, like, we're supposed to believe they're 18, and you're just
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
yeah, oh, okay.
Sure, yeah.
But I thought Channing Tatum's character is just this real cute dummy, who, like, you know, he actually, because Viola as Sebastian keeps like saying like weird misogynistic stuff to try to fit in, and he's like, don't say that. Like, why are you saying that? Which I thought was like a cute little touch.
I think Channing Tatum is such a good himbo, like beyond anything else. Like
so
if you look at him in
Step Up.
Jump Street. Oh, I wasn't even thinking Step Up, but
well.
in Jump Street 1 and 2, like what a beautiful himbo that he is. And I just love him so much. That speech that he gives in Jump Street 22 where he's talking about being gay, and like he did like a single gender studies class, and he's just like, you can't call someone a fag. Like, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Maybe queer if they're okay with it, but the correct vernacular is homosexual. And you're just like, thank God for you beautiful, sexy man with no brain. Thank you.
I forgot how handsome Channing Tatum was at this.
Right?
I was, oh my God.
And it's like,
he's too beautiful.
It's before he got like super buff, so it's sort of like that like natural, sexy six-pack with the V thing.
He just looks like that.
Yeah,
I think that was around his Step Up time too. So he was definitely like still that like very much a dancer's body.
God, he's a stunning man. I forgot he was in this, and I was so shocked to see him, and I was happy about it. Don't get me wrong. Good Lord, that opening scene where he's just like shirts off, and you're just like, right, okay, cool. Like, I think you should play Skins forever.
He sure should. That being said, I did not think it was okay. There's a scene where they're like hanging out in the gym, and Viola's like still got like hard feelings for him, and they hug at some point, and she like runs her hand down his back. Like, I was like, that's actually that's
predatory.
not okay, Viola. It wouldn't be
It's
cool if
very
a dude
predatory.
did it.
Yeah. Just don't do it. Yeah. Like, I think that is, it's surprising where the problematic parts came in this movie. They had such an opportunity to make it really problematic, like with the transphobia stuff, and there's just nothing. It was only with sort of like sexual assault and sexual predator stuff that was, you know, it's not good, but it's surprising.
Yeah. I mean, look, is the very concept of kissing booths disgusting? Like, why are we still doing that? Absolutely.
What are we teaching? What do we teach the kids?
Think, like, do places still really do that? Obviously not like
COVID time.
times.
But like pre-COVID times, like it just feels
like in 2019 where they're kissing booths?
That can't be right? Because like people are aware of things like, you know, cold sores
germ
and stuff.
theory.
Yeah, right? Like it makes sense, like pre-knowing about COVID.
And people volunteer, like, oh, you could not pay me enough money.
No, that is real gross. It's real gross. I mean, and like, what is the line? Because is it just like a peck? Is it just like, mwah? Or is it like, because that kiss that obviously, like, I get it was for effect and stuff between Viola and him, like, and Duke when they like full on make out. I get the effect of it, but is that what you're expected to do with everyone, including the 13-year-old boy, which is a sex crime? And the 90-year-old man, which is just kind of, I mean, not to kink shame. Don't kink shame. This is not a podcast that kink shames, but
it's problematic no matter what. I don't love the idea of a kissing booth. I think, I'm pretty sure they're not a thing anymore. And movies just like introduce them for the drama.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And everyone else is just like, absolutely not. This is a terrible idea.
Especially like signing up your adolescent daughter to be in the kissing booth. Like, what the fuck, Mom?
I'd be furious. I'd be so angry. So I think we should say as well, this movie, and I think it's great that we've kind of discovered a sub-theme of this. This movie is based off of Twelfth Night, the Shakespeare play.
Yes.
Which is very, very cool. I don't know if you've read it. I haven't. It's not one that's come across my acting.
No, it was not on the school curriculum, so...
But, you know, apparently the schools are named after the towns and all the characters are named after the
Ah.
characters. So yeah, they try to like stick with that kind of vibe. And I thought, you know what, I really appreciate that fact.
Okay, that's fun. I love a good Shakespeare adaptation. Shakespeare was a dude full of humor, so it's always
Yeah.
cool to see modern adaptations. I think that's what he would have wanted.
Exactly. Except, and with a huge caveat, for Romeo and Juliet, that film can go die in a hole.
I think Shakespeare would have especially loved Romeo and Juliet just for
How
how
dare
upset
you.
it made people.
How dare you? I was so mad with Romeo and Juliet
He was
because
such a
the
troll.
ending.
What are you talking about? He would
I hate
have
it.
loved it.
What? What?
It was.
I'm expecting a 2-page paper on why Shakespeare would have
Why
loved
Shakespeare
Romeo and
was an edgelord. By
Juliet.
Sloan LaRue.
I want it on my desk Tuesday morning, please. So what else did you particularly like about this movie or even dislike? Because I think with Amanda Bynes, you know, it's kind of
Yeah.
her vibe that you just love these movies.
I thought it was a funny role for her. I think she did really well. You know, always fun to have that scene where someone has to costume change a bunch of times and oh, how crazy. um I don't know that I loved that it all led up to like a debutante ball.
Yeah, weird,
Like
right?
I guess maybe it was to like fit in with 12th night or whatever, but there are a lot of different parties it could have built up to. And like, even
Prom.
though she was self-aware about it, she was like, Mom, debutante balls are really dumb. It was like, it's still such a weird thing to include.
Yeah, it is. It is. I get like the whole point is her supposed to be like a conventional girl and it like really hypes up the whole thing that she's pretending to be a boy and stuff. But even so, like it is really weird and secondary to everything. And it makes no sense for it to end that way. And yeah, like that end scene is very strange because she like full on like tongue destroys Channing Tatum. And then she's
I'm pretty
walking
sure
down
you're
and
not
she's like,
supposed to do that at your debutante
no.
ball.
No, and then it's sort of like a weird end credit scene where she's just like pointing at everyone and being like, "Oh yeah, you do your thing," and whatever. That being said, I did really love like there was like kind of there's like this beautiful hint. So you know, Channing Tatum's got his African American friend, and then there's the other friend who is like kind of like waxes lyrical and is kind of beautiful about what he says.
Yeah.
So there's that bit in the debutante ball where they go to him, like they pan to him, and he's sitting next to the hairdresser, and the hairdresser fixes his lapel.
Yes.
And it's like this really subtle hint that I'm thinking, like on a rewatch, that he's like gay, and like something's going on.
For that.
I would be down for that. That's the she's the man I want to see.
Yeah. Let's get more queer inclusion in movies in the early 2000s.
Retrospectively,
We're remaking every Amanda Bynes movie with more queer inclusion.
I think she'd be up for it, to be fair. I don't think she would have a problem with that.
I think she's out of acting. Like I think she's probably retired. I tried to like do a quick Google, like, is Amanda Bynes okay? Because she had like a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, she did.
Like 2 years ago. But last I can see, she went for treatment. She's been sober for a year. She's got like she got a bachelor's in like fashion design and merchandising.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And she's got this sort of like on again, off again fiance, but he seems to like really care about her. So like, yeah, good for her. I think like,
yeah,
it's so, like we said, it's so hard being a child actor. And like, she had so much pressure on her from a young age. Like people's careers rode on her back, like when she was a child. So good for her for being like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah, it can't be easy. I mean, I can't think of a single child actor who hasn't sort of suffered some mental distress, you know, and you can see why. It is fucking horrible. And you know what, to know that she's come out the other end and she's doing well is great. And you know what, she's given us such amazing times and such amazing films. So
all the best.
All the best, yeah. So is there a scene that could have saved this one for you?
I could have done without her brother's like crazy ex-girlfriend Monique.
Okay, all right.
Like she actually, I mean, I did the whole synopsis without even mentioning
you didn't
her.
mention
She
her at
really
all.
just introduced a bit more tension because she was obviously the only person who would be able to point out that it wasn't Sebastian and it was Viola. But other than that, like she was just kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
I always do laugh. I mean, I shouldn't. It's a horrible line, but I always laugh at the line like girls with a face like mine, or no, girls with an ass
Yeah.
like mine don't talk to guys with a face like yours. She says to
Yeah.
Channing Tatum. Okay, Monique.
That's actually a good point that we should raise, is the fact that Channing Tatum really seems like a huge dweeb in this movie. And it's very
they're like,
unbelievable.
oh, he's so socially awkward.
And it's like, no, it's Channing Tatum. With a body like that, you don't
Oh my
even need to
God.
talk to women.
His
Like,
face, an 18-year-old me, he would not have had to say a word.
no, not even a little
Oh my
bit.
God.
So the like you're trying to make us believe that Channing Tatum is this weirdo who can't get a girl. Bullshit. Huge bullshit. Yeah. Although that scene in the gym where he's talking to Olivia and he does the phone head flick and like whacks his head against the machine, like fucking the best. Like Channing Tatum, what an
My
actor.
crush would only have deepened.
Yeah, exactly. That is fucking hilarious. The phone swish is something that I wish I could pull off. Like, I wish for flip phones to come back so I could do that, because that was beautiful. Beautiful acting.
Oh, he's so funny, actually.
He's so perfect. Yeah, for
What
me,
about you? Scene that could have saved it.
yeah, I think it's I just there's no resolution, and I think you said this so perfectly in your synopsis. The reason she joins the boys football team is to prove a point. Like, it's not to try and show that the other school, to show Cornwall that they should have a girls soccer team, or that that girls should play with the boys soccer team, or anything like that. It's to show her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, that he was wrong, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there are so many other girls on that soccer team who are also riding on this, and you've done fuck all for them. And I would have just liked
super true.
some resolution where she was just like,
Yeah.
where the guy at Cornwall, the coach was like, oh, boys can be with girls can be on a boys team. Justin, you're out, kind of vibe.
I would also like to add, in both of these movies, there's not really that much of a character arc for her.
No, that's a good point.
For either, like, she starts off being really cool and she ends off being really cool, having scored like some sort of external victory, but like nothing internal. Like, she doesn't, I don't know, she doesn't feel like there's a need or a want or something that she wants but can't have early on. I don't know. She just doesn't grow in either movie, right? Like, everybody around her learns a lesson, everybody around her grows, but like, I don't know. I think it would have added a nice layer of complexity for her to like be working through her own stuff.
That's a good point.
At the same time.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And I think, it goes as well to what you were saying about her being in the supportive girlfriend role, is that even though she's the protagonist, she is just supporting everyone else.
For everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good point. So would you watch this one again?
Yeah, it's super silly. It's so fun. Everybody's so beautiful.
It's so great. It's one of the few 2000s films that actually holds up and isn't entirely problematic. And I'm so glad it isn't problematic. And I'm so ready to just watch it straight away again. Yeah.
Also, special mention, the girl who plays Olivia, the lady who plays Olivia.
Oh yeah, she's so adorable
so
and lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Every time the camera panned to her, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think Channing Tatum should have just gone up to her and just been like, from an evolutionary standpoint, we should have kids, because look how beautiful they would be. There is no need for us to have anything in common. We don't even have to like each other. Just for the sake of humankind, let's just have babies.
Is that a line that's worked often for you, or?
Yes, because I am conventionally attractive, and that's what gets me the chicks. It's not my comedy or anything like that.
Using eugenics as your pickup line.
As a white cis male.
I think we just have a responsibility to continue. Don't.
No, awful. No. Definitely not a thing. Well, thank you so much for suggesting Amanda Bynes Week. This has been the most fun. Yeah. Oh my God. What a winner. I
thought, you're doing exams, you deserve it.
It was the perfect switch off. I finished studying the one night, chuck on She's the Man. Best way to end an evening. Yeah. Did it again last night with Sydney White. Perfect. Absolutely brilliant. So Simone, what is your gratitude for this week?
For this week, so unfortunately, Cape Town has decided to dive into autumn a little early, which
has it gone
I was banking on a
fest?
couple more weeks of summer, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just going to embrace it. As soon as I get my first paycheck at the end of this month, I'm going to go shopping for cozy sweaters. It's soup season. I made myself a nice soup that I'm going to have for lunch this week. A lovely creamy spinach soup with some miso in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm just embracing it. I'm just embracing all the things I like. I can't wait to light a fire in the fireplace. I can't wait to wear my
Yes.
cozy sweaters and my warm socks. So I'm just trying to think of the positives here.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Just think
Yeah.
of all the chocolate you can now eat because you need to keep up your calorie count in the cold weather. Like, perfect excuse to eat more chocolate.
I'm actually
You have
not
all
that
that
much of a
firewood.
sweet tooth. It's all
That is
about
true.
it. It's all about the chips for me.
That is true. And there's nothing wrong with that. Cheesy chips,
Mm.
Doritos.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
I'm making
Nachos.
mac and cheese for dinner tonight. So.
Of course you are. Why am I not surprised by that? Oh, yeah. And then once you get paid, once you get that first paycheck in, you can chuck a little bit of lobster in there. And
Oh,
because
I'm
you're
not
super rich and
crazy.
fancy.
Crazy. What about you?
Mine, it's Mother's Day today. I know this episode comes
Huh.
out like a week and a bit after Mother's Day, but it
Yeah.
is Mother's Day here in the UK. So I'm just really grateful for my mum. She's my
Aw,
gratitude.
right.
She has been such an amazing mum for the last 27, almost 28 years of my life. And yeah, she's helped raise me into the man I am today. And I couldn't be more happy. And I hope she feels
Aw.
loved and appreciated because she is loved and appreciated, and she is my gratitude for this week.
Oh, yay. Happy Mother's Day, Maureen.
Yeah. I got her some gins, which is really nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's gonna be partying town, USA. Right, Simone, I have a thought for next week.
Okay, give it to me.
All right. So this is a bit of a long one. So here we
Okay.
go. I don't know if you know what's coming in the coming months, but it is called, hold on, let me look it up. Look it up because it's a thing.
God.
Okay, hold on. I had the name in my head and now I've forgotten it.
Okay.
It is called Brood 10. Now, it might sound like a fire festival kind of thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
So every 17 years, the cicadas of North America become like fully grown and ready to mate. It only happens
Right.
every 17 years. And now it is Brood 10. In a couple months, all the cicadas, after 17 years of being buried in the ground in North America, are going to come out. And there's going to be swarms of billions and trillions of cicadas having sex and making more babies so that in the next 17 years, they can do the same thing again.
Cool.
So I was thinking, in honor of Brood 10, we do an insect week.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So-
yeah, sure. That's a theme.
That's a theme. So I'm thinking, in terms of insect week, let us do Eight-Legged Freaks, 2002, 49%,
A classic.
a classic, and you'll be surprised by this, Bee Movie, 49%, 2007.
It only got 49%, huh? After all
I
the
am-
memes?
After all the memes, 49%, because let's be fair, it is not a good movie. A bee and a woman fall in love with each other. That is fucking weird.
You know what? Honestly, it's shocking we didn't do B movie sooner. So
It's true.
actually, also though, eight-legged freaks, that's arachnids, they're not insects. So
Yes,
you just
I
need to-
realized that. I did realize that. I was aware of that and I was waiting for the correction. But I thought, you know, they're
You
creepy,
could call
they're
it the
crawly.
creepy crawly episode.
Yeah, the creepy crawly episode. I think that's fair. Cicadas, yeah, they're creepy and crawly. This is a creepy crawly episode. B movie,
Cool.
Eight-Legged Freaks. What a week.
Okay, sure, let's do it. I'm ready. It's been a minute since I watched B movie. I never intended to watch it again, but to everything a season.
I don't think I've seen B movie the whole way through. I think I've seen the beginning, parts of the middle, and the end, but I've never seen it all the way through in like one sitting. So I'm really excited to see how it all kind of gels together.
Great.
Gonna be super exciting. So ready for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, goodness me. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate you guys. Tell us what you think of Brood 10. Are you guys ready for the massive cicada launch that's going to happen if you're our North American listeners? If you're from anywhere else in the world, when is your Mother's Day? And don't forget it, because God damn it, there's the one holiday of the year apart from Father's Day, which happens sometime else throughout the world. So be ready for it. It's coming up. Mother's Day, Father's Day, be
Hell
ready. Yeah. And what are you watching? What are you not watching? What are your feelings about eight-legged insects and arachnids and other creepy crawlies? Tell us. And where can they do that, Simone?
They can define arachnids nicely for us on Facebook and Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast. They can send us snooty messages about what is it? Ontology?
I think so. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, ontology. On Fresh Tomatoes MP, and they can email us all the different ways I have been wrong in the last 30 seconds at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye.
Bye.